Hello everyone, welcome to the Tech Tuesdays webinar on Secure Agent in IICS. I am Brinda and I'll be hosting today's webinar. This webinar is for all IICS users to understand the best practices for Secure Agent in IICS. After this webinar, we will be able to understand how we can manage memory requirements in agent machine. A user will be able to understand more on agent level logging, managing space on the agent machine, etc. Today's presenter is Sandeep Nanjappa, who is our senior software engineer from the GCS team. Before we start with this webinar, here are some housekeeping tips. The webinar is for 1 hour that includes a 45 minutes webcast, and then we'll move over to live for 15 minutes for answering your queries. All dial-in participants will be muted to enable the speakers to present without any interruptions. Your questions can be submitted through the Q&A section and we will be addressing them to the end of the presentation. The webinar will be recorded and will be available in the Informatica Support YouTube channel and the Success Portal. The link will be emailed to you. Also, please put in your feedback and suggestions for upcoming topics for the Tech Tuesdays webinar at the end of the presentation. The Tech Tuesdays webinar series is a webinar series introduced within the Success Portal. The Informatica Success Portal is a microlearning platform that offers free and unlimited learning to all registered users. The Success Portal lists your success offerings, your customer success manager information, bookings available in the Ask an Expert session, and customized recommendation and content. Here are some important links that you can check back later for your future learning. Over to you, Sandeep. Thank you.
Good morning, good evening. This is Sandeep from Informatica Support. I have been working with GCS for past 6 years, and today we are going to talk about best practices of Secure Agent in IICS. In today's agenda, we'll be talking about the Secure Agent, how actually it works, what are the best practices in installing, configuring, and maintaining a Secure Agent, what kind of logs we can delete, what logs we can look into it when we face certain kind of issues. We also talk about data integration service and how it helps in running mapping task and your task flows. We can also see how memory configuration can be done on DIS, and we can finish it with a small demo on connectivity and operational insights, which can help in monitoring the Secure Agent. Coming to the architecture, Agent is a lightweight, self-upgradable component from Informatica Cloud, which has to be installed on your network. And this allows us to access the cloud server and help you in running your tasks. The Secure Agent can access to your local databases and your applications behind your firewall. These applications and your databases will not be storing any kind of data on the cloud server, but we just store the metadata of your task which you have created. Configuring a firewall. So basically, when it comes to agent, we recommend users to allow traffic to 443, which is the outbound port for communication from the agent to the cloud server. We also request users to whitelist IP addresses and also domains according to their requirement. The IP addresses can be found by getting the URL on which the pod is located on. Once you log into Informatica Cloud, you can see the pod on which you have been located, and based on that, you can download the IPs or find the IPs from the network portal in Informatica. Proxy on a secure agent. Proxy on a secure agent can be configured in Linux by updating the proxy ini file. we have a file called as console agent manager.sh, which can be used to configure proxy using the host, port, username, and password. Whereas in Windows, we can use the secure agent manager directly configure in the manager, or you can update the proxy NI file by directly going to the agent location. Secure agent startup can be done by various ways. In Windows, we have a services window wherein we can go ahead and start your agent. We always recommend users to use an admin user to start the agent, since the admin user will be needed for updating certain certain registry access, which in turn helps us to cause no issues during runtime of your tasks. We can also start the agent using run agent manager.bat, which is in Windows. We can also use agent start.bat, which is in Windows, and .sh in Linux. We can use infagent startup, which is a basic command, which is run by most users in Linux. What happens when an agent start.bat is triggered? The first agent sets the agent start script directory, which is your agent core directory. So then it tries to connect to the agent core, does a connect of intervals in an interval of 10 times with a 30-second interval, which means 30 into 10, which is around 300 seconds, which is around 5 minutes. If the agent core startup keeps failing, then the agent start.bat tries to restart for 5 minutes before giving up. So if there's any network connectivity issue, it will wait for 5 minutes before giving up. What happens to the agent core process? To ensure there's only one instance of a process, we obtain a lock on this file, and that way we don't have any other process which is running, which in turn causes the agent to not start. First, the agent reads the proxy properties file, infagent file, agent core CFG file, and loads the agent configuration. Once it is done, the agent ID is read from the infagent file, and it sees whether the value is set to a configured or a not configured states. If it is not configured, then that means we have not configured to the agent to the respective org. So once it reads the master URL from the infagent.ini file, it creates a session in IICS, the authentication goes through, and you can see the agent up and running in your administrator console. Once this is done, the agent core gets the list of registered licenses from an AppSpec file in your data integration AppSpec file, and it downloads the respective packages according to your license. Connectivity tests. Usually we use curl to verify connectivity for the cloud server. This can be tested when usually the agent is not coming up, or in cases where when a new installation is tried and the agent is still not coming up because the agent is not able to communicate to the cloud server. And also in cases if we see a network agent was working and suddenly stops running, we recommend to do a curl test to verify connectivity on their network. Best practices to install secure agent. We recommend users to use a minimum of 16 gig of RAM to a secure agent. This would help us, to run respective processes underneath. Since moving to agent as a platform, the agent core has multiple services running beneath it. We have data integration server, mass ingestion, data ingestion, etc. So these services would require lots of memory. So I have a slide further to explain what services and how we can handle them. Coming to the space, we recommend users to keep at least 100 GB of disk space to run the task and store cache and logs. This usually depends on the requirement of the users. If the cache files and logs are pretty large, then they can keep the disk space accordingly. We also recommend not to install Informatica Cloud Secure Agent in the same machine as a Power Center server. This will create conflicts in lib path, and performance issues can be seen because of memory used by both the services. Also, we recommend one secure agent per machine. That way, memory will come to memory resources will come to play if there are multiple secure agents in a Linux machine. We recommend using agent clustering for better performance. That way, we can create agent groups and add multiple agents, and that way the task can be run across different agents simultaneously. Coming to the services in Secure Agent, we have an option to disable the required services according to the use cases. If a user is using data integration server and process server, they can just use those two and disable all the other services. That way, memory usage will be consumed based on what services the agent runs. Agent blackout periods. If your data integrations tasks are running and you want your agent blackout period to be set, you can set it directly on the agent by creating a file called as blackoutwindows.dat and updating this XML with the respective start and end time. And once you start the agent after this file is placed on this particular directory, the agent blackout period is set. Thereafter, no other data integration task will be triggered once this is set. This will be useful when you're trying to do some tests or any kind of activities on your secure agent. Application logs for agent. Agent core log is something that we usually refer when the agent is having issues during the startup or any kind of issues during registering or packages which are not being deployed properly. So those kind of scenarios, we refer agent core.log. Info agent log on the other side can be used or to check the connectivity of your network and also the times made to connect your cloud server. Logs for the DIS. For DIS, we have scripts log, which usually captures information on agent startup and shutdown processes. Tomcat log captures every information of your tasks, when the task was triggered, when the request was sent to the cloud server, when the response was received. It also consists of informations like the task, how many records were processed, and also it will consist of informations like stack trace, if the Tomcat process crashed. So those kind of information of any kind of Tomcat related activity can be found inside the tomcat.log. Whereas tomcat.out is kind of a console error file from the Tomcat server. Any kind of design related activities, we can see those error messages in tomcat.out. Temp files. So every Tomcat process during the agent startup, we can see these files created in the temp file directory. This can be defined for Linux. This can be changed according to your requirement. For Linux, the default is /temp. For Windows, it's cwindows temp. It's recommended to clear these folders periodically, in which case your respective design time activities or your runtime activities or your agent startup shouldn't cause any issues, because if the temp folder is filled, you might see error messages of such, causing your respective process to not start. Log level debug is kind of a runtime value which we specify on the agent level. This will be used to capture the SOAP responses, request and response, and also REST request and response on your respective tasks. For any debugging of those kind of activities, you can add this property on the agent level. Session logs. Session logs can capture every information of your session. It can capture from the time when your parameters are being loaded for that particular session, and also it will capture all the information of from the reader to the writer, and also the time taken, where the busy percentage is, what is the number of records processed. All this information will be captured in the session logs. The error files, on the other hand, capture error messages from your respective endpoints. And both error files and success files can be configurable as well. Log maintenance DIS. So these are the few files which we can occasionally clear to conserve space on your agent directory. Temp files, cache files are one of those which will be filled because of various processes creating them. Cache files can be filled because of certain tasks which might fail, and those kind of files will not be deleted. If a cache file is created and your task is completed, that would be cleared off. But if the task fails, the file might remain there. So those files can be cleared occasionally, allowing more space to your agent directory. At the same time, you have an option to clear the older versions of folders and the Tomcat info agent logs. Data integration server. Data integration server basically runs jobs like mappings, tasks, and task flows. Data integration server resiliency. So to run your task, we have two main parameters here: timeout period and time retry interval. So the agent communicates based on this. Let's say your task is running now and you have a connectivity issue. So the timeout period is 300 seconds. The retry interval is 5 seconds. So every 300 seconds, it will be trying out. So in case you face any issues, you can see this causing the issue. In case you see any issues during those 300 seconds, and if your connection comes back, your agent will be able to connect back and the data integration task keeps running. Coming to the memory settings. Memory settings on your DIS can be configured accordingly. So Tomcat JRE helps you in configuring your info memory, which is basically for design purposes. Design can be agent startup or any specific design activity you're performing. Whereas DTM, JM option can be set basically at runtime. It can be set according to your memory availability on your agent. Agent can run only two jobs. For a single agent can run only two jobs. So we have a property called as max DTM process, which can be set accordingly, and it completely depends on the hardware that the agent is running on. Secure agent cluster can help running multiple jobs in parallel when you have multiple agents in your single group. So let's go to the demo and we'll see a few things on connectivity and operational insights. Running a curl test, we should go to this particular directory. And you can open command prompt here. And we can run this basic command of running this curl test. So we can run this command to test the curl test here. It basically connects to the DM-US and with the port 443 and it says connected. So this is the basic troubleshooting in terms of agent connectivity from the agent machine toward the cloud server. Coming to the operational insights, we can have a look here. So operational insights is a new offering which helps us to give us the status of your agent and it gives us information on the disk space, memory usage, and gives us alerts on any kind of activities where the agent is going down. You can configure accordingly. So once you log into cloud, you can use the service as operational insights. And you can navigate to all infrastructure. And if you go to alert settings, you can see all your security agents inside your organization. So you can choose any agent which you would like to see, and you can, based on that, you can configure your you can set your values like this. If you want your alert to be set on this, you can set like this, and you need to enable here. Maybe certain cases you won't be seeing this here. You have to say enable all, and once you have done this, you can configure your respective email addresses to which you want your information to be sent. And also you can add your custom scripts based on which, if you see this alert, if you want to send certain emails to emails, or if you want to perform certain activities, you can do this as well. Thank you, everyone.
Hello everyone, we are open for live questions. Please post your questions in the Q&A box. Sandeep, we have one question from Tim. Could you please answer that?
Do you have recommended guidelines for DTM? So the minimum memory is what we say is 16 gigs, but it completely depends on the use cases accordingly. So we have to see what is the exact use case, and we can just right. I mean, the minimum recommended memory is 16 gigs. It depends on your use case. Does it answer the question?
Next, we have this question from Prithviraj. How many jobs can be run in parallel in one essay?
Secretary, yeah.
We can run up to
by
two jobs
default,
in
a
security.
virtual agent. Sorry, Sandeep, go ahead.
Yeah, in a single security agent, we can run up to two jobs. This can be increased by using a flag called as max ATM process. And also we can use multiple security agents in an agent group to trigger multiple jobs.
Yeah. Thank you, Sandeep. Next question from Srihari. Can you please elaborate on the difference between tomcat.log and tomcat.out?
Yeah. So basically, whatever the log messages that get put as logger dot info or debug, and they basically they will go into Tomcat.log, and anything maybe something like system of println or other logins from a different frameworks or something, that those will be available in Tomcat.org, and in case there are any unhandled ones, they will be available as part of Tomcat.org. Your go-to log should be Tomcat.log most of the time, and if you find literally very less in that case, we can go to Tomcat.org to see if anything can be found there.
Okay, thank you, Satya. Next question is, please explain a little bit on the use of Tomcat log files.
Yeah. So the Tomcat log files, right?
Yeah. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. So the Tomcat, basically, there are multiple applications running on a secure agent. There can be multiple applications such as agent core, data integration server, process server, and so on and so forth. All those applications will have their respective Tomcat. So when I say Tomcat.log, most of the times you would mean the data integration services Tomcat, and the use of Tomcat.log, basically it will have the entries for whatever the tasks that were triggered on that particular secure agent and what was the status of that. It possibly can also tell about what are the plugins that are loaded. In a startup mode or in a startup phase, it will contain the data about what are the plugins that are loaded into the memory, and any design time issues, or basically any design time logging when you try to design a task. Anything that gets logged in will be available as part of Tomcat.log.
Okay, thank you, Satya. Next question from Matthew. Is it possible to have the secure agent auto start in Linux using something like system.d?
Actually,
Indeed?
yes, we can.
Yeah.
So yes, we can. We can use like that to sort of standard units.
Okay. Next question from Dan. Are there any tools or KB articles that describe how to troubleshoot remote agent to data source connectivity events?
Yeah, so basically recommend in case we are trying to access an application and we are seeing any issues, we always try to connect from the agent machine to the endpoints. If it's a kind of a DB, we recommend using ODBC or JDBC. If it's kind of API based, we can use REST-based tools, to verify connectivity. That way we'll know the agent is able to communicate. And also a simple curl test should be enough for us to validate if the connectivity is going to fine.
Okay. Next question from Srihari. Is there a baseline recommendation for max DTM processors?
Actually, we don't have a single recommendation which we have got from the engineering team. But as we said every time, right, it's just completely dependent on the agent machine's resources available. And we by default, since it's 2, and if the agent is having sufficient memory and connectivity to network is good, we can run up to like maximum 30 jobs. We have users running more than 30 jobs. So we don't specifically say that this is the number, but it completely depends on the agent machine resources.
Okay. And the question from Sarita. Under operational insights, I see only one option for data integration. Is separate license needed for checking all infrastructure?
Yes, operational insight comes with the license, so at least you can just request the shipping case and you should be getting it enabled. By default, you might not be seeing all the features there, but there's certain licenses which needs to be enabled for that.
Okay. Another question from Geraldo. How is the minimal configuration of secure agent hosted, mass ingestion, and data integration?
So we basically do not have a minimal configuration as such. Basically depends on the kind of load that you will be putting on these applications or basically the services. Data integration and mass ingestion by themselves can run on the specification that was covered in the slide. But given let's assume you have a very heavy load that you are doing with a data integration task, at that time you may need a little more resources. But whatever that is covered on the presentation should be enough to run these applications themselves. But if you have a heavy data load, you may need to add.
Okay. Next question from Roger. Can you please give an idea how large the setting max DTM processes can go depending on underlying hardware? For example, 10, 20, 30.
I think I answered this question, Vinda. So it depends completely on the agent underlying hardware. So
we have already answered the question.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll move on to the next question from Don. Will there be a transcript of the recording only? Because I want to understand what this is. Oh, sorry. Is there a? It seems like we have a problem with the audio. I would suggest both Sandeep and Satya to hold their mics a bit closer. That way, sorry for any inconvenience caused. Next question from Aarti. Is there a difference? Tomcat files and stack trace files are both are said to have traces.
Yeah, so Tomcat log files, the Tomcat files will consist of stack traces in certain crash scenarios. If there's a DTM crash, you might see the Tomcat generating stacks. And also, when you say stacks trace files, this might be related to ODBC trace also, which might be completely different, which might be referring to the driver. If ODBC driver is doing certain activities, that might be something referred in the ODBC trace file. But Tomcat trace file is completely different, which might be giving us information on the design level stack traces.
Okay. Next question from Srihari. Is it possible to set up subox with its own secure agents?
Yes, it is possible to set up subox with its own secure agent, and basically you will have to make sure that you are assigning the right licenses from the parent org to the required subox. And there is another option to also just install the agents on the parent org and share them on the subox.
Okay. Next question from Prithviraj. Can you explain more on the different services function on a secure agent?
Yeah, there are different services in the secure agent. For example, the DIS can take care of data integration tasks, mask ingestion services specifically for mask ingestion tasks, which can be used to load large files to your respective endpoints. And also, with respect to database ingestion, we have a separate service. We have process server, which is basically used for CAI, Cloud Application Integration. And we do have multiple other services, like Operation Insight comes as a, we have a separate service for that to collect the information from the secure agent. We have a common integration component, which basically helps us running command line tasks in your task flows. So we have different services. We should be, the network article should be having a clear idea on what are the features in those specific services.
Okay. I don't have any more questions. Please post your questions in the Q&A box. We can wait for some more time. The recording for the entire presentation will be present in the Informatica Success portal and the YouTube channel. Yes, we have one question from Juan. Is it possible to install the secure agent in a machine sharing resources with other applications, not other secure agents? And how can we restrict the secure agent to use just 4 or 2 cores if the server has a lot more?
Okay, is it possible to install in machines in using? Yeah, so for example, right, we always recommend not to, like example, if you have a power center and a secure cloud secure agent in the same machine, the resource consumption might be a problem for your task in either of the platforms, right? So that is the reason we don't specifically recommend having those kind of applications in the same machine. I don't think there's a way to restrict the secure agent to use just 4 or 2 cores in the server. I'm not come across that scenario. Yeah.
Okay, another question from Pradeep. How to verify the connections are going to each secure agent in cluster?
Yeah, we can see connections going. We basically monitor through the process, seeing the Java process running on the secure agent and seeing which process is running on which agent. This can be verified only directly looking into the machine's process stream to see what kind of activity is running on which secure agent. And also currently in the session log, we do have a new feature in R34 where we display which secure agent is run that particular task.
Okay. We have another question from Pradeep. How to get session PID from server Linux, INUX, or Linux to kill the jobs?
I think you can just do
I just answered it
on the.
I'm sorry, Sandeep. I just answered it over the chat. You can run a PS command and grep for the user with which the agent is started, so that it lists all the services or the processes that were started by that particular user, and then pick the PIDs and kill them by kill and then PID list.
Okay. Looks like we don't have any more questions coming up. We can wait some more time. Please post your questions in the Q&A box. Yeah, so we have answered most of the questions and we don't find any new questions coming up, so we can wind this webinar. Thanks for joining this webinar. Hope everyone is safe. And if there was some problem with the audio, we apologize for that. And you can find the recording in the Informatica Success Portal and the YouTube channel. Very sorry you had to bear with that. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Sandeep and Satya, for spending some time for this webinar. Thank you. Thanks a lot.